This video was brought to you by my loyal patrons. Pledge today and receive exclusive perks. Link in the description. 2025 is a huge year for Thomas and Friends. On May 12th, the franchise will turn 80 years old. 80 years since the first book of the Railway series was published in 1945. These anniversaries have always been huge celebration years for the Thomas brand, and every 5 years they seem to do something special. For the 60th, back in 2005, the show produced its first feature-length special, Calling All Engines. The 65th wasn't a huge celebration, but it did produce some special best-of DVD releases and toys. And also, this atrocity.
Cranky! Salty, look! That must be Misty Island!
I am so not looking forward to rewatching this. The 70th was the biggest and best so far, with 2 specials that year in honor of it. The Adventure Begins, which retold the stories of the first books in the CGI series, and Soto's Legend of the Lost Treasure, arguably Thomas's most cinematic adventure yet. A full orchestra brought in for the score, some of the best animation in the show, period, celebrity voice talent, and it intentionally featured as many of the original Audrey characters as possible. Not to mention an entire 30-minute documentary on the brand's legacy, which featured interviews with franchise alumni such as Christopher Audrey, Rick Sigelkow, and others. And for the 75th, 5 years ago, we got another special, Thomas and the Royal Engine, a double-length episode where Thomas takes the Fat Controller to London. It is the final episode of Thomas and Friends proper, with a nice mention of the Railway series books in its final scene.
From what my son has been reading in the books written about it, your Northwestern Railway is well known for helping out those in need.
It all came full circle here. The final episode ends with a mention of where it all began. Beautiful. So what does the 80th have in store for us? 2025 is only getting started, but we've already seen a ton of special announcements. And today I'd like to go through everything announced so far and give you all my thoughts. I'm sure that there's still more surprises to come, so at the end, I'll give you some of my own predictions of what else will come this year. So let's start with Thomas's owners. What has Mattel themselves announced for the 80th? Officially, Mattel announced in a press release that they will be celebrating the 80th with, quote-unquote, the comeback of the classic Thomas the Tank Engine look, as well as new All Engines Go content and a musical film release. Okay, there's a lot to take in there. So the new All Engines Go content is likely referring to the show's 4th season, which I think has already begun airing as of recording this. Duck and the Scottish twins are slated to appear in it, as their toys have revealed, and I believe that those are already out too, so you can just go out and buy them. It is so weird that those are out so early, months before their alleged episode's debut. The musical film release, I believe, is also All Engines Go related. There will be a special later this year, supposedly honoring the 80th. And if I had to take a wild guess, this is the production that Duck and the Scots and, hell, potentially other returning characters will be appearing in. Guess we'll just have to wait and find out about that. All Engines Go is, as far as I'm aware, in a weird hiatus state at the moment. The show was only greenlit for 4 seasons, and with Nelvana, the studio that animated it, in danger of going defunct, another season doesn't look too likely. If the show does indeed end this year, I am very, very curious what exactly will happen next for the franchise. But the most interesting thing in this statement is the comeback of the classic Thomas the Tank Engine look. One can only speculate what that means. I have to assume that this is in reference to the new toys that were recently just announced. A few weeks ago, we got a peek at this brand new die-cast Thomas. This, however, is not being produced for Thomas's 80th, but for Mattel's 80th. Mattel, coincidentally, was also formed in 1945, and 2025 is their big Ruby celebration, hence the rubies in Thomas's cars here. Quite frankly, I think this looks great. The fact it has side rods, albeit static ones, is so cool. When was the last time a die-cast Thomas had those? The proportions aren't weirdly squashed, it has a fully open cab, separately fitted whistle, an all-new wheel design. Yeah, this is pretty cool. It's a real step up from what Mattel has been putting out for the past, 10 years or so. I'd like to think that this will kickstart a whole new range of characters in this new style, but I'm pretty sure this is just a one-off special Thomas for the 80th, and it isn't really indicative of anything. I'd heartily welcome being proven wrong about that though. I have wanted a new collectible diecast Thomas line for years now. I will definitely be grabbing this whenever it hits store shelves here. There was also this leak on Mattel's consumer support site. A brand new Trackmaster, or a motorized Thomas, that looks just like the CGI Thomas. The proportions here are crazy accurate, like it's not squashed or stretched or anything. It looks pretty stunning. Even the side rods have detail on them, how cool. I quite like how this looks, but I'm a little skeptical that this is even coming out. On the site it has a year release of 2022, which means what exactly? Was this something designed several years ago that got canned, or is that an error? I wouldn't be shocked if this was some prototype for a proposed new legacy line that just never happened, and it's not even related to the 80th. Once again though, I hope I'm wrong about that, as I would love to see new merch on the shelves with some genuine effort put into them. There's some new minis coming out for the 80th. I was actually shocked to find out that this line still exists, and they still make minis. There's a gold Thomas with Railway Series art on the side. Okay, that's pretty damn cool. I love that. If you examine it closely, the Thomas is actually based on Payne's original illustration of Thomas, not the re-illustration by Dalby. That's a deep cut. They actually put some real research into that. That's crazy. There's also this Diesel 10, but his face is clearly based on the model face, the prop face, not the CGI Diesel 10. That's also pretty wild. Like, is this indicative of anything? Will we see more like this? Very interested in seeing if anything comes from this. In December, Dovetail Games made a special announcement that they have collaborated with Mattel to bring Thomas characters into Train Sim World 5 in honor of the brand's 80th anniversary. The models and the promo images they showed appear to be mods of the official CGI character models, and that's really cool to see. Personally, I don't play the game, nor have I ever played it, but I imagine that people who do would be pretty interested in this. Featured characters will include Thomas, Diesel, Annie and Clarabelle, and the trucks. Ian McHugh, the former producer of Thomas and Friends, was brought in to help with the collaboration, and Dovetail even posted a half-hour fireside chat with him. This was a fun watch. We hardly ever get full interviews with modern-day crew members. Hold the phone. What on earth is that Topham in the background? Is that official merchandise? What on earth is that? And that's about as far as announcements from Mattel itself go. But oh, there is so much more we gotta cover. The model train world has also hopped on the 80th bandwagon. First up is Lionel. I don't think Lionel still produces the engine characters for O-Scale. I think those were discontinued a few years ago, but they still produce Thomas merch. For O-Scale, they announced this special boxcar with 80th anniversary decals. I absolutely love that they're using the classic 80s logo. That is so cool to see again in 2025. I also really like the overall livery of this. Seems like a subtle nod to the Sodor flag. Blue, white, blue, and orange stripes in between them. I hope that was intentional. That looks so cool. I don't collect O-Scale myself, nor do I own a Lionel anything, but I think one of these would look pretty cool on a shelf. If I ever see it in a shop, it might be coming home with me. Bachmann has announced their own special vans in a similar style for double O-Scale. We have one with the retro logo on the side with a blue chassis, and the other with a Thomas graphic and an orange chassis. Neither of these really get me all that excited, to be honest, but I do appreciate that they're doing them. I may feel different once I see them in person in a shop. For N-Scale, they've announced Thomas in his original LBSC colors, and James in black. Bachmann's N-Scale line is quite high quality from what I've seen, and even though I don't model N-Scale, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tempted by this range. I mean, look at their Gordon. It's absolutely perfect. It's unreal how accurate that is to the CGI model. I need that. So don't be surprised if I end up making a N-Scale collection video at some point on this channel. We will also be getting a LBSC Thomas in G-Scale. Alright, that's the first new engine for G-Scale in quite a long time. I kind of assumed that this line was on its way out, so it's pretty cool to see new items in it. The irony here is not lost on me. It's pretty funny that they're announcing 70th anniversary editions of characters for the 80th anniversary, but hey, I welcome it. But Bachmann's big celebration item was this 80th anniversary set, and oh boy, do I have some thoughts on this. I think the idea of this set is actually really cute. It's based on that famous illustration of Thomas coming out of the tunnel from the Railway series, and so includes Thomas, a brown open wagon, a boxcar, and a brake van. The brake van, while it's not a new tooling, is new to the Thomas range though, and it looks similar to the one shown in another illustration. Good eye there on Bachmann's part. While the set is a cool idea, I gotta be honest, it just kinda comes off as lazy to me. The big must-have item here is this special Railway Series-esque Thomas. The buffers are gray now, and there's a red boiler band behind the smoke box, I guess. Hey, seriously, is that it? I guess the one is also bigger, but the font doesn't even match the illustration. I don't see enough of a difference between this and a regular Thomas to justify me purchasing this set. I love the idea of it, I really do, but I feel Bachmann could have tried just a little harder here. The big number one thing that fans have been clamoring for from this range for years is a newly designed Thomas. One that isn't based on outdated 2D stock art. And this set would have been the perfect opportunity to debut it. At the very, very least, they should have given him a new face, one that resembles the illustration it's based on. That alone would have made the set totally worth it. I love Bachmann, don't get me wrong, and I am so impressed with how intricate their new toolings like Rebecca and Sir Handel are, the latter of which I will definitely be buying, hubba hubba. I just wish there was a little more effort put into this set specifically. Now this is just a promotional photo, the final product may look different than this, and it seems Bachmann is open to discussions about changing the face.
Right now it's planned to have the original face,
Okay.
but now that we have the request, it can be something we can discuss.
It's really cool that they're receptive to the fan backlash. I commend them for that. If the final product does look substantially different, I'll retract my statement here, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Hornby did not announce anything Thomas for the 80th, but they did feature this in their 2025 catalog. A Class 91 Electric, number 91124, wearing the name Reverend W. Audrey. Okay, this was very sweet. What a perfectly appropriate announcement for this year. In real life, there was a Class 91 that was named in Audrey's honor. I believe in 2000 or so. I couldn't find the exact year it happened. I believe that 91124 is still around and in service, though it's in a modern livery and it doesn't wear the name anymore. This was a wonderful, subtle little nod to the 80th on Hornby's part. Would love to grab this just to have, but price is just a bit too steep for me. As for Akira Scale, well, their announcement hasn't happened yet, but I'm sure it's coming soon, and they've been pretty cheeky about it. Earlier this year, they showed off painted sample photos of their new Austerity 060 saddle tanks. Pretty cool. Nice to see these. I definitely want one. And in this group shot, posted on their website, way at the back, just out of view, is an Austerity in a livery that they have not announced yet. And who is it? Why, it looks like Wilbert to me. Wilbert, aka the Austerity saddle tank on the Dean Forest Railway that was named after Wilbert Audrey, and later turned into a character in the Railway series by Christopher Audrey in one of his books. Now there has been no formal announcement from Akira Scale yet, and I must disclose that I'm just totally speculating that this is being done for the 80th. I don't actually know, so don't take my word as gospel. But if I were to guess, they're waiting closer to May 12th to announce it proper. Whether that's the case or not, it's still another model that's totally appropriate for this year. They could have done any of the hundreds of J94s out there, but they specifically chose to do Wilbert, the one with a Thomas connection. May I remind you that this is also the same company that of all the Class 5700 Pannier tank engines that they could have made, they chose 5741, aka Duck. Akira Scale absolutely knows who its audience is. I look forward to the formal announcement, and you can bet your butt that I'll be pre-ordering this. Overseas, Japan has been going all out for the 80th, complete with a new microsite dedicated entirely to it, which takes the user on a brief scrolling journey through the show's history. As someone who majored in web design, I quite like how this is all laid out. This is very modern and fun. A part of this site is a major poll for the most popular characters from across the franchise's history. Anyone can go vote in it, so I linked it below if you'd like to go participate. They posted the midterms in January, and the top 5 were Railway Series Thomas, Model Series Thomas, Duck, of course, Flying Scotsman, that's a surprising one, and appropriately, Edward. Good results. I'm curious if the final top 5 in February will be any different. We'll find out soon. Hey, so, editing Tug here. Apparently the poll closed February 2nd. I missed this bit of text here that says the end date, so yeah, it's actually closed now. Sorry folks, I misunderstood that, my bad. I don't know if the final results have been posted yet. The site only shows the midterm one still at the time of recording this, but the link is still in the description if you want to go check the site out. They've also uploaded select best of episodes to their YouTube channel, which will stay up till the end of the year. There will also be a huge exhibit held at the Kyoto Railway Museum called The World of Thomas the Tank Engine Exhibition, starting March 15th. I don't think we know much about it as of now, but it sounds pretty interesting. I have to imagine that some of the TV props currently at the Hera Model Railway Museum will make their way there for it. But of all the announcements from Japan so far, this one here is my favorite. Here comes Playrail, proving once again that they are the GOAT, with this special edition Railway Series Thomas, Annie, and Clarabelle. Oh my god. Of all the 80th merch so far, this is definitely the one that I am the most hyped about. Just look at this thing. I love how it's stylized. It's meant to look like everything on it is hand-drawn, like a 3D book illustration. The lining on Thomas is all imperfect. His blue is more of a faded teal color. And that face. Oh my gosh, it's perfect. It looks just like the Railway Series face, but translated to 3D. I adore it. This is exactly the kind of thing that Bachmann should have done with their Railway Series Thomas. From what I've seen, everyone has been flipping out over this. And hey, I totally get it. I'm right there with you. You all know me, I love Playrail. This was my favorite toy line as a kid. I will definitely be grabbing this the day it comes out. What an absolutely fantastic announcement. As of recording this, I think that's all that's been announced so far. But it is only February, and I'm sure there will be more surprises soon. So, here are some of my predictions of what else we may see for the 80th this year. Audrey Extravaganza 5 and the Tallyclins Railway Series Weekend. I'm pretty hopeful that something crazy will be revealed at either of these events. They could be anything from something new from Audrey's study that we haven't seen or heard about yet, or some really cool item on display. The official announcement for the Railway Series Weekend states, "Delights from Mattel's archive will be on display." My guess here is props from the TV show. It would be so cool to see Edward, Henry, and Gordon together, the original 3. And the announcement for Audrey 5 calls out the return of Sir Handel, Rusty, Fred, and some other special guests from the island of Sodor. I wonder what that could mean. It's all deliberately cryptic, and with this year being the last Audrey Extravaganza for a while, I have no doubt that they're going to go all out for it, so I'm sure they have something really special planned. At the time of recording, I am unsure if I'll be attending Audrey 5 this year, but I really want to. There's been a lot of talk about the original 1983 Down the Mine pilot, and it is undoubtedly the most sought-after piece of lost media in the Thomas community. We know it still exists. According to Ian McHugh, all footage of it is in storage with Mattel. There's been rumors swirling that this is going to come out this year, but as far as I know, there's no actual confirmation of that. Every single 80th predictions video that I've seen has speculated about it getting released to the public. And I would also love to see that happen. And you know what? I think it will. Ideally, I'd love to see Mattel just post it onto YouTube on May 12th for everyone to watch. But this is Mattel, and I'm sure they'll want this behind a paywall of some sort. I'd say it'd make for a great bonus feature on a complete series DVD box set or something. But I don't really see that happening either, not in 2025. If anything, I could see it being screened at an event this year. Audrey 5 maybe, or perhaps a Clearwater exhibition event, or hell, maybe even that exhibition in Kyoto. I don't know. But somehow, some way, I'd like to believe that the pilot will be made public this year. It may be unlikely, but hey, nothing's impossible. And this last one is a bit of a long shot. But my final prediction for this year is that some company will announce a new E2 class tank engine for 00 scale. I can absolutely see Rapido or Akira scale announcing it. Both do random surprise announcements throughout the year, so who's to say that one won't be revealed on or closer to May 12th? Rapido and Akira Scale are both very aware of their Thomas following. Remember, Akira Scale is making the real duck of all panniers. Rapido announced the Bill and Ben liveries for their Alfred and Judy models, and they intentionally gave the J70 in their Great Eastern Pack Toby's number. If anyone takes on the E2 and 00, it's bound to be one of these two companies. Knowing how much Rapido loves doing fictional liveries on their locos, I could totally see them proposing a fictional, nondescript blue livery in an E2 batch. One can dream, right? There's been a lot of speculation that the trailer for the Mark Forster movie will come out this year. And frankly, I don't think we're going to see anything like that. There's been no word on filming, production, anything. I don't think it's even started yet. And to be honest, I'm not even sure if it's still happening. But hey, I'd love to be proven wrong about that. Guess we will just have to wait and see. So those are my thoughts and predictions. Come on back to this video at the end of the year to see how accurate or totally wrong my predictions were. This pick of the week doesn't really have anything to do with the 80th, but it is Railway Series related. It is We Need Another Engine by Epic Laffito. My apologies if I mispronounced that. This is an adaptation of Jock the New Engine from the Railway series. All 4 stories wrapped into one, and it acts almost like a sequel to the Smallies episodes in Season 20. Ever since the Season 13 video, I've been in a very CGI Thomas mood, and I've been rewatching episodes from the Brenner era. I gave this a rewatch recently, and this just shows how much potential the Smallies really had in CGI. It is a crime that they barely touched them again. There's also some really great voice acting in this too. Overall, a very fun watch. Go check it out. I'd like to give you all a personal big thank you to the response on the previous video, where I proposed alternate prototypes for some characters. That video exploded 93k views in the first 24 hours. That has never happened before. I had a blast making that one, and I will definitely do a part 2 eventually. I greatly underestimated how much people love seeing alternate takes on characters. Well, don't you all worry, I have plenty more ideas for several characters in the series. Now, regardless if Mattel or Bachmann or whoever still have more stuff to announce for Thomas's 80th, I think what I'm actually looking forward to the most this year is May 12th itself. I am sure that will be a crazy day for fan content here on YouTube, and I am so ready to watch all the videos our fellow content creators have planned for the occasion. I certainly have something planned, I'll say that much. May 12th is going to be one hell of a day. I cannot wait. And that is all that I've got for you folks today. Stay safe out there, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.